We're doing this for YouTube, for News from Indian Country.
Oh, News from Indian Country.
George Newago, you just gave a talk at the 25th anniversary of Glyphwick. You were talking about what treaty rights mean to the Anishinaabe. What do they mean to you?
Well, what they mean to me is that they're more than the paper. They're who we are. They're our existence. Because you look at a treaty, you look at everything that's involved in a treaty. It talks about our existence. It gives us our fish. It gives us our deer meat. It gives us our wood. It gives us our plants. It gives us our medicine. It gives us everything. And when those treaties were signed, that's what the thought was. We need to allow an opportunity for our people to continue to live. And that's the basis of it all. That's where it all comes from. That's the treaty.
Last summer when gas was pushing $4.50 a gallon,
I was crying.
I was too, but it taught us something.
Yeah.
We started thinking about how we're going to net Cisco in October, how we're going to share deer meat, how we're going to garden. You mentioned that today about returning to community.
Yeah, that's where we need to go because everything is regressing. We're moving so far from community, and as I talked earlier, the time that we get together is tragedy. When we have our funerals, when someone's really ill, the community pulls together. And you always hear that in news articles where, well, we want to thank the community for pulling together. But it's all relative to tragedy. And a long time ago, when people knocked on the doors, they said, come on in and visit with me. Let's have something to eat. Now today, it's not like that. And we need to take steps to get back to that. And I don't know how that happens. I mean, if we shut all the lights off, if we raise the price of gas, I don't know what we do. But that's what we need to get back to.
George Spengler was talking about seasonal rounds. Of course, your dad lived seasonal rounds and your grandfathers lived seasonal rounds. As a traditional man, how do you see seasonal rounds returning to life in this territory?
It's going to turn to life. It's up to us as the ones who have the knowledge to do that. We need to carry forward with that. If we don't, if everybody keeps going to McDonald's, if everybody keeps going to Burger King, Taco Bell, and they're not going out and getting the resources that we have right there in front of us, are showing them, because that's like my responsibility now, is to show our young people, taking them out how to set a net, how to sit still for a deer, how to look for the berries, how to do all these things that we need to teach them. And someone needs to pick up that role as a teacher and show them that and give them that tool, because they might not need it today, but maybe 5 years, 10 years down the road, they might say, oh, geez, I remember that. We can do that, and then go about and do it.
It was back in 1988. We were out on the island, and Grandma Goki was out there, and she was looking at some of those big yachts out there. And she said, that's where we used to pick blueberries. And those people in those yachts, they were kind of frightened by the whole thing. Can the people with the yachts and the hunters and gatherers exist together?
Coexist, about respect. It's about respect. Respecting that, I mean, that's their choice. That's their privilege. They have the opportunity to do that. But then they need to respect what we're doing. And they need to understand and educate themselves about those resources, about those places where the berries are. There haven't been people over in the islands for years picking blueberries. Hardwood Island, Stockwood Island. I talked to guys that are older than me that remember going out there with guys like my dad and Mike Newago, my uncle. They'd go out there, but they need to. People haven't gone there. They haven't gone there. It's like an inconvenience, and that's where we're getting so comfortable in all the conveniences of life. It wasn't about that then. It was about existence a long time ago, and that's why they made their way out there to pick them berries.
Talking about a big food animal. Talking about moose.
Oh yeah.
And the protocol that you followed when you went up to another community.
Yep, I asked. Yeah, we went. I'd been out on a golfing event and met some guys from Canada, talked about harvesting a moose, and they invited us there. So we went and we got the gifts that we needed to give. That community is only about 120 people, so that's the amount of gifts we got, about 120, 130 gifts. And we gave tobacco to that community elders. The elders talked to us, talked for us, to disperse those gifts, and in return we were able to hunt. And all that thing is not done through a legal standpoint. It's about respect. And then ultimately, I brought 7 moose across that border with a letter. That's all I've had.
George, anything you'd like to add?
No, I have nothing more to add.
Okay.
Miigwech.
This is Nick Vanderpuy and George Newago. up on the Bad River Reserve for Indian Country TV.